All right, let's talk about positives here. First of all, let's talk about the Jets as we approach 3, WFAN in New York. As we do that, we're here until 7:30 tonight at the Hard Rock. Got Yankee tickets to give away for Game 3 tonight. You hear from both managers, but let's do a little football for a couple minutes. Number one, give the Jets credit. They came out and played well yesterday, and I thought where they gave this game back to the Pats in control had nothing to do with the fumble that everybody wants to talk about. It had to do with the last couple of minutes of the first half. It was there that they had a chance to take control of this game, regain control. They did have the game at one point, 14-zip, as you know, but they allowed the Pats to get back in, and the Pats scoring on the Gronkowski play before the half, to me, it changed the game to where you knew what was going to happen, that they were going to take control in the second half. Give the Jets credit and give their squad credit for playing hard, which they do now every week. They did make some mistakes yesterday. They had some bad penalties. I thought they got a couple of bad calls. I thought they got a really bad pass interference call against Gronkowski. I think Gronkowski clearly not only initiated the contact, he actually brought the defender in and pulled him in as he did it. So I actually thought that was a terrible call. But so much has been made of the tight end fumble that it's almost obscured everything else that went on in the game. On that play, and like you, like everybody else, I thought he had regained control and scored the touchdown. I clearly thought he did. They felt, and everywhere, and you heard the NFL talk very confidently about this. You heard Correnti talk very confidently about this. They felt they had, without question, complete evidence that the ball moved for a second time, and when it did, he hit out of bounds before he regained control of the ball. They even called it an easy one, not a hard one to do, an easy one. It's a terrible break. It's almost, they call it a touchdown, and you wind up with that play. And we're getting to the point with these replays where it's becoming and this is going to be something that either you're just going to have to understand and live with, or it's going to get more frustrating. You watch these plays happen. You watch these replays, just like you've seen some of these tag plays called third, or you see the play with Gardner. Gardner came up safe at third base, and you could see as he came up and looked at the coach, he knew he was out. Even though he'd been called safe, there was no jubilation on his face because he knew they were going to replay it and they were going to call him out. The play in the Cub game the other night, when they called the guy out for going back, when they picked him off first base, to the naked eye, you couldn't see anything on that play. The fact is now with these replays and the slow motion, you can somehow see a guy, they put a tag on him and you see him come off the base for the, a fraction of an inch that you can't even see with the naked eye, but they got it with a slow-mo. So you're now going to see calls made or replayed where there's the obvious one where they just blow the call, but there's going to be these other ones where you think clearly the call is one way, and it's going to turn out to another way because they use these super slow-mos to come up with the best viewpoint, and they slow it down to such a level that they're able to see things you can't see with the naked eye. So it's going to make these calls that much more frustrating, which is what happened yesterday with the Safarian-Jenkins fumble. Clearly, it looked like he regained it. And remember, he's going in as a runner, which is a complete different set of rules than if he goes in as a receiver. If he goes in as a receiver, he has to maintain control right through the play, the whole thing. We know the deal. As he goes in as a runner, all he has to do is break the plane. Their point is, as he went to cross the goal line, he lost control. As he regained control while he was already crossing the goal line, now he's got to maintain control through the whole process. And their evidence was he did not. I cannot say that they don't have evidence to that. They were very, very confident they did. It's a heartbreaking, terrible call. I can understand anybody being infuriated by it. If I were the head coach, I'd be going crazy on that call. It definitely impacted the game, no question. It didn't cost them the game. They had plenty of other opportunities. They squandered opportunities. The Pats did more, especially in the second half, to win this game. But you still saw some very good positives in the Jets yesterday. They attacked. They went toe-to-toe. They stayed in the game. Some things you don't like that you need to see better from the Jets. There's things that they have to be doing better, like getting better play out of the defensive line. We know that. There are places they can play better, but they're playing very competitively, and you like that. You like the fight. You like the fact that they took the fight to the Pats, who are still struggling dramatically on defense. And, you saw times where the Pats allowed completions that just boggle the mind. But give the Jets credit. I understand you're frustrated today. I really do. I understand you feel like you got burned today. I do understand that. But I don't think, in retrospect, that you did, despite how upset you are by this. And you want to... Now, I've heard people say, well, we got to refine this call. Well, what do you want to change the rule to? You want to change the touchback rule? By rule, the way they stated it, it is a touchback. I don't know what else you would call there. He doesn't have possession of the ball in the end zone. So I don't know what else you would possibly call. And they're saying he went out of bounds before he regained possession. It's a brutal call, especially after they called the touchdown. It's an absolutely brutal call. I understand that. It's frustrating. It was a frustrating loss. But the fact that you have a frustrating loss to the Pats is actually a good thing. In the long run, that's actually a good thing. And you saw some this team is going to go out. They're going to play hard. They're not going to win a ton of games, but they're going to go in a lot more than anybody thought. They did have chances in this game yesterday. And listen, the Pats are supposed to win that game. You know it. When they get back, even at the half, you expect them to win the game. Gronkowski and Brady are just too good for them. I mean, they're going to make plays. And this league right now is so bizarre. I mean, I can't remember the league ever being more unpredictable than it is right now. I mean, how many... I mentioned this on Friday, that I stayed away from, in my picks, I stayed away from all those monster lines, because I don't like going with those games. If you look at them, you would have to take the points on almost every one of them. Some of them were such insane decisions, things that happened in the games. If you were watching the first quarter of the Miami game against Atlanta, you would have thought Atlanta was going to win by 40. They wound up losing that game. I mean, the Bears against the Ravens, the Chargers coming back on the Raiders. I mean, over and over and over. And so the Pats playing the Jets close shouldn't surprise anybody. And then last night, the coup de grace, where the Giants showed you why they never should have been 0-5. But give them credit. I wasn't expecting that effort. And I do think a part of that is, and this is the psychological part, it's the same part that is why I liked Pittsburgh against Kansas City, because I thought Pittsburgh would come out breathing fire. And I think Kansas City, there's a point in the season where you get a little complacent. And the other team has got as much talent as you, and they come out and they need the game. And they've been beat up, and they know they need the game. And you saw that yesterday from Pittsburgh, which really just overwhelmed Kansas City yesterday. With the running game, when they had to move it in the air, they did. And the game was even, more one-sided from the line of scrimmage than that game turned out to be at 19-13. But another example of that, Denver last night just waltzed out onto the field. Hey, Giants, we know you're wounded. We know you're beat up. This is a nice, easy night. And you know what? The Giants came to play. And next thing you know, Denver had been knocked in the head a couple of times. And they were like, well, wait a second here. And now their quarterback played badly. And now they make a couple plays in the running game. And the next thing you know, Denver's completely out of its game because they've been run on, which they didn't expect. Their quarterback made some terrible mistakes, which they didn't expect. And the next thing you know, the Giants got themselves a lead, and the Giants got themselves a win. Throw in a couple of missed field goals, and you have a game. And the bigger picture is, the Giants showed you that they really aren't a terrible team, which we all knew. But you don't go from being a team everybody picks to go to the playoffs and then not have any talent. And last night, their defense stepped up, even with a lot of people sitting out. And their offensive line, which was a makeshift offensive line, played better. They got some hard running yards. They made some plays against a team that really had not given up a lot on defense and got pushed around a little bit last night. But more than anything else, it was the big plays or the lack of plays that their quarterback made last night. He played very poorly. Very, very poorly. And that's in a game where Denver did move the ball. But again, then the goal line stand was the coup de grace late, and they couldn't even get in the end zone. So the biggest thing about that game is it takes a little heat off the head coach. But the head coach had a very tough week where it looked like his team was completely unraveling, and it looked like he was losing his grasp on this team. Well, last night he clearly showed that right now he at least has a pretty good grasp on this Giant team, which responded very well. and surprisingly well. Did I think they'd win that game last night? I did not. Am I surprised it was a close game? No. I mean, I don't think Denver's got a whirlwind offense. I'm never surprised if it's a close game. I am surprised they won. And they won the way they did. I was very surprised because they dominated the game. So give them credit for that. We got a lot of stuff to do going around the league. We'll get some calls in on the Jets and the Giants right after this.